Hey guys, welcome back, it's Ripe again. In today's video, an HOA neighbor called the police on me for plowing snow in the neighborhood. She insisted that I am a criminal even though I was just doing my job. Here is what happened, let's dive right into the story. The first one starts like this. I work for my city's sanitation department, and for those that don't know, we do more than just pick up garbage. Here in the upper northeast we can get some major snow in the winter. People notice that the streets get plowed, but don't always know that it's the sanitation department's job to remove it. Most of us doing basic streets just use a pickup truck with the plow attached to the front, nothing crazy or industrial. This story happened several years ago, but for personal reasons I decided to retire before making this public. We had a pretty big snowfall, and when it stopped I think it measured about 1.5 feet. As soon as it was safe for us to go out and start plowing, we did. We try and start as soon as we can, even if it means doing it while the snow is still going, because doing smaller amounts is just easier. I don't expect people to appreciate the streets getting plowed because it is seen as more of an expected thing. What I don't expect is people to get mad about me plowing the snow. I understand that when we plow a street, it means a higher wall at the end of walkways and driveways for people to shovel. I can sympathize with that, but it's just obvious if you're living in a place where it snows. Streets need to be clear for emergencies after all. So anyway, I was doing this neighborhood and I was about halfway down a dead-end street when a woman came out in front of my plow and started just yelling at me. I did not know what at first, since I had the heat and music full blast inside the truck. Still, I couldn't get around her and assumed there was some emergency or somebody got hurt. I jumped out to see what the problem was, and that was when I met Karen. Karen, you're not authorized to come down this road and plow it. This is an HOA and we have rules. You are making a mess of people's driveways and getting snow on cars. Me, miss, I am plowing because... She cuts me off. Karen, I don't give a damn why you are plowing. I have called the police and I'm not moving until they get here. I won't let you continue this criminal behavior. I could not do anything but wait for the police. She has moved herself to basically be standing on the plow, and me moving the truck would have meant her getting hurt. Hurt by fault of her own, but there was no way I was risking my city job for a nutcase like this. I radioed in to let my boss know what was going on and waited for the police. They came and Karen started screaming again that I did not have permission and that she was the HOA president. The police saw the truck had a logo from the sanitation department. I started to explain and defend myself to them, but they told me that they knew I was doing my job and not to worry, they would tell Karen to move. They told her that I worked for the city and had every right to plow the street. I was not a criminal and there was no crime even against plowing snow from a street here. Karen refused to listen and claimed it didn't matter what the city said because she was the president of the HOA and made the rules. Her rules being that driveways and walkways got to be cleared before plows were allowed to come onto the roads. Demanding proof that I even was a city employee because the stamp on the truck could be a fake. Police? Ma'am, we will call and confirm, but I need to ask why you think that he would not be a city employee. Karen, because it's just a truck with a plow on it. Anybody could do that. It's not one of the bigger plowing machines clearing the streets on the news. Yes, on the news show bigger trucks because they are clearing more major streets in the city, not minor and smaller ones in the suburbs. The police have to do what she is asking because she was making a claim that she knew I did not work for the city. The police called in with a license plate and confirmed that I was a city employee. Also telling her that city laws trumped over HOA rules, that she had to move and let me go ahead and continue my work. Making a point that if I did not clear this road, the police would not have been able to respond to her call about it. The irony going right over her head, but she did move away from the plow. Not before huffing and telling the police that it is wrong for the city to send people to plow before people have a chance to shovel out their cars and driveways. And that since it's still snowing, it's a waste of taxpayer money. I started to go back to my truck and the police to their cars. Then Karen full-on sprinted at me and jumped on my back to get me to the ground. I don't have a great back, and Karen was not exactly a small woman. I went down and it felt like she was trying to punch my back, but I couldn't see. The police ran to drag her off of me and put her in handcuffs. I was a little dazed, but after a few minutes it felt okay. Due to city regulations, I had to get checked by an EMT before I continued my shift. I could have chosen to go home, but I still would have been driving back and I didn't have much left to do for my shift anyway. Waiting for the EMTs, other people started coming out of their homes due to all the the commotion. A few even saw Karen being put into the back of a car. One person in particular was this amazing woman who seemed to be like 80 years old. She was the only one that didn't stay back and instead came right up to me. Police asked her to stay back, but she said she just wanted to give me some tea because I looked cold and worked hard. They allowed it, and the warmth of it really did help. She did not have to say much, but that tea, a smile, and a thank you for doing my job will stick with me the rest of my life. I was deemed okay to finish working and got back into my truck. I never was assigned to that neighborhood again, so I never ran into a Karen or that absolute angel of a woman again. However, I did find out what happened to Karen though regarding her arrest, since I was the victim. She was charged with assault against a city employee calling emergency services for a non-emergency during a time of crisis, since during a storm is an even worse time to waste police time and resources. Also got a charge for resisting arrest since she didn't want to go with them quietly. I had to give a statement about being attacked to make sure that I did not provoke anything and to get details matching. She pled no contest and was sentenced to a few months in jail. It's been years, so unless she pulled another stunt, she has been out and free for a good long while. This was actually the only time during my career that a person actually got mad at me for doing my job. I've had complaints of people getting mad for me refusing to do things I couldn't, but only Karen would get angry about her street being clear of snow and free for police and ambulances to get through. And yeah, Ripe stars, I suppose Karens can always find a reason to get mad at you and call the cops on you for something. I suppose that's the daily dose of entitlement and drama that they need. Either way, the next one is a petty revenge story. I just bought a hotel room and was informed the room came with free breakfast for 2. I came downstairs in the morning, and as soon as I entered the breakfast area, the server gave me a dirty look and literally yelled, "What do you want?" I told him about the comped breakfast and he said I had to leave without explaining that I needed a coupon that came with the keycard for the room. After I found this out from the front desk, I came back and gave him the coupon. He then said he would not serve me because there needed to be 2 people. Again, I had to leave to get my brother and come back. He then proceeded to take our order, 1 breakfast for me and 1 breakfast to go so my brother could go back to sleep. My brother then leaves, the server then proceeds to not even offer me water or check on me at all while attending to the only other people in the breakfast area sitting right in front of me. Then finally someone else brings out my food and I eat. When it comes time to leave a tip, I write a big fat 0 on the check and proceed to walk over to the food runner that brought me my food and handed him a $20 bill. By the way, guys, I've never seen the word brang before. Is that related to a special English dialect or something? But there's no way brang is correct. Anyway, the look on this rude server's face is priceless. And yeah guys, if you've watched until here, please don't forget to like the video and maybe even post a comment because that would help me tremendously. The next one is a petty revenge story I bring you from Reddit. So I live in a city and to save money I don't own a car. Sometimes it's inconvenient, but mostly the subway and buses get me where I need to go. For groceries, there's a big grocery chain just a few blocks away, so I'm leaving the grocery one day and a bag in my arm and another in a small backpack. I'm walking through the parking lot on the way home and this lady steps out in front of me and starts yelling that I parked my truck too close to her car. I look next to her and this little orange hatchback is parked with the driver's side right up against a white line. Next to it is a large white pickup with its passenger side also right up against a white line. Each vehicle was within its proper spot, but with a little more than the width of the line painted on the pavement separating them. As I'm looking at the situation and trying to figure out what's going on, this woman is yelling at me, calling me a short little idiot and demanding that I move my truck. Now, I know I'm short, I've been teased about it enough, no big deal. I'm also aware when some bully is having a tough day and wants to abuse someone, they don't tend to challenge the biggest dude around. They pick someone who looks easier to abuse, and still, every now and then I don't have the patience for such nonsense. So I decided to push back. I know it was not my truck, but I was not gonna tell her that. So I said, I will park however I like and I'm not moving that truck. She kept yelling and mocking me and I continued to refuse to move the truck. Anyhow, while this is happening, a dude walks past us, tosses something in the back of the truck, climbs in, and starts to pull out. She does a double take and seems lost for words. As the truck pulls away, I say, "I never said it was my truck." And then I continue on my way through the parking lot heading home. And yeah, Ripestars, I gotta say, this story could not have turned out any better. Props to OP for handling the situation like a champion. Either way, the next one is an entitled family drama story. I, 53 male, have a daughter, 17 female, who I recently bought this big storage container for that locks. The reason being, our daughter has a job and likes buying her own food and snacks for herself. The problem is that her mom invites her aunt, uncle and cousins over all the time, and even since she started buying her snacks and leaving them in the pantry, they would eat them without consulting her. She has asked them many times to not eat them, but they don't listen. For reference, she likes to order snacks from other countries as a way to broaden her horizons. She is also linguistically gifted and likes to try and read labels to help expand her vocabulary. These snacks can take weeks to get after she orders them again, and by then her current snacks are already gone. My wife didn't do anything, saying that since our daughter kept them in the pantry, they are for everyone. She moved them to her room and her cousins would go in when she wasn't there and take them. I went to a hardware store and bought a big container with a lock, and for extra measure, I bought extra locks and drilled holes so that they could be used. Our daughter cried and thanked me because it was pretty expensive and not something she could afford. Of course, the cousins went to get more snacks and threw a fit when they saw it and realized the snacks were in there. They told their parents and they told my wife, and she is not happy with me, saying that our daughter should share her snacks with the family and she is being selfish and will get fat. Our daughter is incredibly fit though, does multiple sports and exercises all the time. She is far from unhealthy. I told my wife she could order her own, and our daughter was happy to tell her where to order them, but she didn't like that either and told her that the chest needs to go and that I should have consulted her on buying the bin in the first place. Am I the a-hole here? Edit for information, the relatives are our daughter's cousins and aunt and uncle. They are my sister-in-law, brother-in-law and nephews, and my sister-in-law is my wife's sister to clear up confusion. The pantry I also fully stocked with food, no one is going hungry and eating our daughter's snacks because they have to. And yeah, Ripestars, I would 100% say that OP is definitely not the a-hole here, however, I'm not even sure if this was necessary. Honestly, in this situation, I mean, it's nice that OP pays this much for storage for her daughter. However, honestly, I would have tried to teach these entitled nephews a lesson. They are just crossing boundaries and are outrageously entitled. They really need a good talking to. Anyway, props to OP for sticking up to his daughter. Comment number 1 on Reddit said, not the a-hole, but I would take it a step further and get a deadbolt lock for her room to lock it when she is not there. That way the cousins cannot get into her room and will have something else to complain about. Comment number 2, not the a-hole, good on you for sticking up for your daughter. Why is your wife insistent on taking her things though? I think her reaction is some amount of guilt/embarrassment for having been found to be stealing from your daughter. All the excuses that she would get fed, that she has to share, even though the goalpost has now moved multiple times from her, moving her snacks out of the pantry and into her room to now even in a locked box. Don't let her throw out that box. Update, my daughter and my brother-in-law both found my Reddit post separately. First my daughter, who was sent it via a friend who knew the situation. She confronted me about it and we had a very long talk, where she admitted that when I'm away, her mom does not treat her well and often puts her cousins and my nephews above her, telling her she should be understanding that we are far better off than them. I was aware that they would occasionally sneak into her room to take things or play, but apparently they go so far as to wait for her to leave for a few minutes, run in and grab what they want. Her mom also makes a lot of comments about her weight. For reference, our daughter takes after me being taller with some more masculine features such as broader shoulders, while my wife is small and petite. There's many other things I won't say here that my wife has said to our daughter. I did not bring it up at first and consulted my wife on buying a lock for our daughter's door, which she opposed even if our daughter said she would buy it with her own money. She started yelling about how under her roof our daughter has to abide by her rules. However, the house is technically mine, not hers. She stormed off and immediately began telling all our friends and her sister and brother-in-law that I was being controlling and awful to her. The brother-in-law found the first post and sent it to her, leading to another argument where she accused me of airing our dirty laundry to the world instead of trying to communicate, despite me trying to and getting shut down. Once she stormed off, I packed a bag, as did my daughter, and we went to a hotel. And yes, we brought the snack bin, where we have been the past few days while I find a good divorce lawyer. My wife is still spreading lies about me, claiming I tried to kick her out and all sorts of other lies too. I'm finished with her. I don't care what she says, I'll be divorcing her and paying as much alimony as she wants so that I can keep my daughter safe from her. I don't care about the house or anything else. She can keep it all and let her sister, brother-in-law and nephews mooch off her until she is penniless. I'm sorry, this is not a happy update and I doubt I will make one after this. Thank you for opening my eyes, Reddit. Edit. After so many people have told me not to give up the house, I'll be doing my best to fight for it and low alimony for my wife. Me and my daughter shouldn't have had to leave the house we have both grown up in because of my wife. She can live with her sister if she wants to help them so much. And yeah, Ripestars, unfortunately that was the last update to the story. However, I was surprised how the story pretty much went from 0 to 100 in such a short time. I really hope the best for OP and I hope he can keep the house and stay there with his daughter, and maybe it will turn out well for them in the end. Let's continue with the next one, which is an Am I the A-hole story. My daughter Ruby is 12. Recently she has gotten into the original Star Trek show as well as the Next Generation. Ruby is also a big reader and has started to collect a few of the old Star Trek books that she finds in used bookstores and thrift stores. These books usually cost anywhere from 50 cents to a couple of dollars. My nanny, Tessa, female 22, hangs out with Ruby most days after she gets out of school. Tessa has been our nanny for over a year now, and she and Ruby get along great. Tessa is big into thrifting and will often keep an eye out for the books Ruby wants. This is not typically a problem, and Ruby always pays Tessa back for the books using her allowance. The problem occurred when Tessa went on a family vacation out west. Apparently, she went thrifting during this trip and found some books for Ruby. She texted Ruby asking her if she wanted the books, and Ruby said yes. Well, Tessa returned yesterday with a stack of about 35 books and told Ruby they cost 50 bucks. Ruby does not have this much money and told Tessa. Tessa then asked me if I would cover the cost. I said no, as Tessa had never asked me about buying Ruby the books, nor was I aware of the conversation between the two of them. Tessa got upset and I asked Ruby to show me the text, which made no mention of price or even the amount of books she was buying. Tessa only said that she found some books for Ruby. Ruby is on the autism spectrum and doesn't read between the lines. You have to be very literal with her. Previously, Tessa has never bought Ruby more than 1 or 2 books at a time, so I told her that she could have clarified with Ruby regarding the amount or double-checked with me before purchasing, and that I would not be paying the 50 bucks. Tessa said she couldn't return the books because they came from the thrift store. I stood firm in my decision and reiterated that she should have asked me first. Tessa left and Ruby is now very upset. I know Tessa is a student and does not have a ton of money, so am I the a-hole for not paying Tessa for the books? And yeah, Ripestars, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think that OP is the a-hole for not paying Tessa or not? Comment number 1, sometimes it's better to salvage an important relationship than to be right. Pay for the books, let Tessa know that you cannot do so in the future though, without talking about it. Tell her how much you appreciate her thoughtfulness now and always. Comment number 2, you are the a-hole. Jesus, you are stingy. You are blessed with a very thoughtful nanny who thinks of your child even when she's not at work. There was a misunderstanding about the cost. All you had to do was behave decently, was pay her and ask her to please confirm amounts with Ruby in the future, and that if it happens again, you won't be able to pay for it. Comment number 3, everyone sucks here. Tessa for not double checking that you would cover the 50 bucks for your own daughter to read, and you for not covering a lousy 50 bucks for your own daughter's reading passion. If I were you, I would suck it up and pay the 50 bucks stat, or someone is going to scoop up your really thoughtful nanny very soon. I'm thinking of hiring her and I don't even have kids at home. I just want someone to thrift books for me. Update edit, because some people are asking, I'm a single parent to Ruby, and while 50 bucks will not make or break the bank, it's definitely an unexpected expense. I provide Tessa with an extra amount of money each month to spend on whatever she wants to do with Ruby, movies, the mall, etc. If she wanted to spend this fund on books for Ruby, that would have been totally fine, but she had already used it up. Edit. I definitely didn't expect this post to blow up overnight. I'm gonna add more context. For those of you who are asking how I can afford a nanny for Ruby and still have $50 be a large unexpected expense, I don't pay for Tessa's services. Because Ruby is on the spectrum, she's entitled to benefits from our state, including care. The agency I work with pays Tessa, I'm not involved in that process. Update: I appreciate everyone's valuable insight into the situation. I've seen a few comments hinting to me about the fact that I don't support my daughter's reading habit. Please know this is definitely not the case. We are both big readers and frequent patrons of our local library. I'm always supportive of Ruby getting new books. I talked to Tessa and told her that I appreciate her for thinking of Ruby, apologized for the misunderstanding and have paid her for the books. We had a chat about expectations in the future and I don't think this will happen again. I've also talked to Ruby and we agreed that I would hold on to the books and she would pay me for them as she wishes. It's important to me that Ruby learns how to handle her finances appropriately, and we decided that she will get 2 new books every week. She reads very quickly. After reading through your perspective on the matter, I agree that it's better in the long run to lose the money and salvage the relationship between the 3 of us, and had not considered all the implications of doing otherwise. Lesson learned. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please check out my endless playlist, where you can find thousands of hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much in advance, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.